Your filmography contains, a mixture of short films, that is mainly documentaries, maybe. Am I right, sir? Short films or documentaries, or are there different categories like short films or documentaries in your filmography, sir?
Initially, there are some short films, um, but later the documentaries are themselves almost like features.
Features.
Like Bamboo Flute is around 80 minutes, and the Skelu Babu film is about an hour-long film.
Yes.
You know. So, and there's a film I'm making with Ileana Chitaristi.
Yes.
That is likely to be around an hour.
And Bhavantaran?
Yeah, that was an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, about the Odyssey.
Yeah, so it's they are almost like feature films, because I spend a lot of time. Khayal Gata was an hour and a half or more on researching. So naturally, if one tries to just tie it up in 10-12 minutes, usually, especially with performing arts, it doesn't work then.
So what is your philosophy or even scientific philosophy about the art form cinema?
Well, it's a way of actually, what you said, immortalizing the mortal. Everything from the beginning does live and die and then regenerates itself, and it goes on. Life goes on.
Yes.
And the cinema is a medium which is, like André Bazin had said, in which you immortalize even a single moment, which passes. But it's there, And when you bring it in juxtaposition with another thing, like Eisenstein would do, it creates a third meaning, and so on, It doesn't create like words a third meaning, it creates like life itself does, If I move out of this studio and meet a person outside, and I just jump from here, having met you, to this other person or this other landscape, the meaning created will not be just that I went out from here to there, or the viewer went out from here to there, but that there is a connection between you and that landscape, which I will see after that.
How would you compare Maya Darpan with Tarang, especially after that 12-year gap?
Yeah, well, I would think of Maya Darpan basically as a very lyrical film and tending towards the epic, and it was on the basis of its tendency towards the epic that I was given, for instance, the Homi Bhabha Fellowship and the subsequent Nehru Fellowship later on. But
and the Best Film Award in that year, Filmfare Critics Award.
Yes. So it was then that I began to work very, very much in depth on the Mahabharata and the whole gamut of Indian aesthetics, and of course, alongside with it, I was working on the aesthetics which were developed by, let's say, Bresson, who was my other teacher in France, and he also had worked from a very lyrical beginning towards more and more epic constructions. I think cinema leads oneself, leads one to that, and so it goes. His researches go back to Saint Augustine, through Pascal, etc. So it meant a deepening of respect for all historical formations, including that of religion and philosophy. And Tarang is a product of that, and very much so.
Actually, the general definition goes that Tarang is dealing with the impact of some social politics within the societal.
You know, we went through several traumas in the 70s. That's the period I was working on this. And of course, the background of the trauma that even Europe had gone through. I was a participant in 1968 in May 68. I was a participant student, you know. So I have not kept so aloof from whichever reality that one has to face. And, you know, some people call me a formalist.
And that film is also remembered widely for, I think, Smita Patil's great role in that.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Why you picked Smita specifically for that role, sir? Because she was more or less akin to commercial, segment of cinema.
In fact, she was going through a fair amount of trauma because of that. You know, and in a way you can say that she died because of that as well, in a way. I mean, I know the physical causes were septicemia and all that, but she had spoken to me very often about the kind of thing that was happening to her in making those steps towards commercial cinema. And I used to tell her, don't worry, if you can keep yourself intact, it doesn't matter what you do socially. You know? But it's difficult to keep one's spirit going. And the remarkable thing was that she did go keep her spirit alive. And I remember, you know, there was a big gap between the first schedules of shooting, and because the producer had not brought in the rest of the money and the rest of it. So when she saw the work she had done earlier, she started crying, saying that, will I be able to match that work? So I held her in my arms and said, yes, Smita, you will be. And indeed she did. Yet another project in Kerala is the fact that I want to start something here which brings together all the disciplines, neurosciences and natural history and mathematics and
Jaihind TV, for the family, for the nation.
Sir, in the framework of our ongoing conversation, I am pretty sure that there is no room for a comparison between Smita Patil and Silk Smita. But since Silk Smita's great character in whichever vivid format has been made into a new film, sir, do you have any idea that Smita Patil's great story deserves a film epic made by people like you, Kumarji, in his scope?
I'm sure it can be done, and the only problem will be to get somebody like a flower as she was, you know, to act that role. Yeah, that is the only problem, and get the right kind of financial backing, you know, which allows us to present her as in all her purity. You know, there's nothing purer than that which has struggled against, you know, the violence around her. Or even a flower, actually, if you see how it grows out of the soil, you know the proverbs around the lotus, for example.
Yeah, definitely. So, Khayal Gate, that is at another epic about music, the classical music.
Yes.
So, when you are giving a cinematic form to your great appreciation and adoration of Indian classical music, how you reached into a solemn conclusion that your medium or the contemporary medium of cinema is quite befitting for such a mission?
You know, I spend hours and hours with my fellow collaborators on a film. You know, be it the cameraman, the costume designer, the actor, you know, and sometimes we don't even speak to each other. And I only show something to them or something like that. And they'll quizzically look at me and ask only some remote question, you know, away from it, because they know that there is no direct answer.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you make a conscious decision, like in the case of Khayal Gatha, I decided that the miniature paintings, especially of the Dakkani and the Akbari sort,
Yes.
will be the guiding force in the visuality. And we searched also the time-space kind of coordinates, both of the music that it was celebrating, as well of that visuality. So this is how one proceeds slowly, and I am again very, very grateful to K.K. Mahajan, who was a lifetime friend and cinematographer of the films, and Bhanu Athaiya, who did the costumes. So Gandhi as well, who
Yes.
I think probably is the first Oscar winner,
Yes. Yes.
and everybody else was associated with.
Among your works, sir, Kasbah, I mean, deserves a special mention because that is quite different from other aesthetic terrains of your films. So this is from that Chekhov,
yeah.
Anton Chekhov story.
Yeah,
So
you know, the abstraction in Kasbah has shifted to the ironical, and it is making fun not of the characters. I wanted to make fun of myself in that film, because I believe that the irony of Chekhov is itself a fantastic abstraction, and it should start by making fun of the author who's telling the story or making a film or whatever. And so my strategy in it was to make fun of everything that I have grown up with or brought to a head, like miniature I had worked with just before that, and music. So the irony of the transition from Dhrupad to Khayal also is there in it. The irony of the miniatures, also taking on local traditions, you know, making themselves popular, like the miniature tradition again took on a popular form in Himachal Pradesh, where I've shot the film, and the actors using costumes in the way of those Rajasthani migrants there, you know.
yes.
So there's a lot of irony, and to get to that film's abstraction, it is in the matter of irony.
And As the Crow Flies, it was made in 2004.
Yes.
And after
Akbar
that,
Ghulam,
you have to make new projects, sir. And
yeah, you know, one was with has started with Ileana Chitaristi. The money was coming from Italy, and we shot it in 2007 or 8. Half of it is done, and now the money is coming in
Okay.
again. The other project I was very involved in was a film with Anish Kapoor. I
As you
started
mentioned.
writing it, and that hasn't started beyond the writing stage. The third very important project was the project in Kerala.
Yeah, M. Govindan's
That has been since 1977.
71. Oh,
But
are you serious still with that project,
I'm
sir?
very, very serious.
yeah.
I'd love to do, because it's like a promise I made to Govindan.
Okay.
And he was such a great person. I mean, he met me and he said very spontaneously that you are the only person who can make that. And I said, I told him that I promise you. He himself, narrated the whole thing, that I will do whatever I can. And I have tried all these years to get it
Done.
going. And yet another project in Kerala is the fact that I want to start something here which brings together all the disciplines, neurosciences and natural history and mathematics and so on, along with the performing arts, to start a school of advanced studies here. Has to have a commercial component, the mode of exchange, which is the commonest amongst us, is money.
Jaihind TV, for the family, for the nation.
I think in your deliberations, public speeches and interviews, I have been noticing that you are not greatly using the terms like art films or commercial films. Instead, consumerist films and alternate cinema, something like that.
Yes.
So that is much on the basic reality side also. Would you please brief your approach a little on that?
Yeah, I think that everything which is done in our world has to have a commercial component. The mode of exchange, which is the commonest amongst us, is money. What we can't do anything about that. That is a reality. The mode of social exchange, whether it is in terms of work, in terms of human relationships in the family, so many people are deserting everybody because of property and money and so on, or marrying because of that, and that kind of thing. So given that situation, we have to always say that the component of money is always there. And recently, for example, single paintings have cost more than single films. One person works on a painting, gets more money
than a whole lot of people working.
For any film, there are at least a few thousands, who are working to make that film, and many more thousands who see them. Even films like Maya Darpan, which were never released, imagine how many millions of people have seen all over the world. So I think this only confuses people when you say commercial, non-commercial. There is a consumerist product which is being offered. It's a bit like fast food in America, particularly, which creates obesity. That
interesting.
That is, and you just grab it here and there, and it has all kinds of poison in it. So that is the kind of thing I don't want to deal with. But there is a real food also, And it is really, I think food is a nice way of speaking about it because it's connected with rasa.
Yes, yes.
And also it is like food for the soul, if you like, you know,
Yes.
the kind of work one does. And I think everybody wants to do that. I've had long conversations with Dilip Kumar, with Amitabh Bachchan, with actors from abroad and performers like Pina Bausch traveled in. She was from Germany. She traveled with me in Kerala, and we went to see Amanur together. I'd have enormous conversations, long conversations with all the artists, filmmakers, cameramen.
Yes.
Everybody wants to actually be able to give to the people.
Is there any difference between these three words, cinema, movie and film?
People use them in different ways. Generally speaking, when film is referred to, it's more like in the Anglo-Saxon terminology. You seem to sort of refer more or less to the material.
Yes.
You know, the movies, of course, comes from America and Hollywood, and the associative nature of that is, where there's a lot of action, and, there is like spectacle.
Yes.
And cinema has come from the French tradition, the reference. So with the cinema, people start speaking in a sense of the abstraction inherent in it. But then a further abstraction was made by my teacher, Robert Bresson, because he rejected the cinema also. And he said, I'll call it the cinematograph, because he wanted the cinematograph aspect, as if to a kind of reductive minimality, which would then become like a divine sign,
Yes.
pared down to that minimal sign. So that's the way it seems to be.
Thank you very much, Kumarji. Indeed, we are greatly indebted for this great opportunity and extensive time you have been so generously allotted to us, and we wish you the very best in your great sublime pursuit
Thank you
of
very
the
much.
divine art and culture of the humanity as a whole.
It's been
Thank
a pleasure.
you very much. Thanks a lot.